today, also my fellow, I'm going to talk on the SDG number 1, eradication of poverty. As you know, poverty is an inability of people to satisfy their basic needs, and it goes on to major category. We have absolute poverty and extreme poverty. So with that absolute poverty, whereby people live below $1.26 US per day, that's what I will be concentrating much. Yeah. So with that SDG number 1 on eradicating poverty, it's not a one-man action. We need cooperation, unity of people to work together. So my case study will deal on initiatives and progress done by SADC in removing poverty. As you know, SADC is Center for South Africa Development Community, and you can see that the SADC member states where these countries, we have Madagascar, there's South Africa, this country, the southern part of Africa. So for such in my presentation of today, I will focus on first to try to give you the origin and the historical background of SADC, a state of poverty within SADC region, SADC initiatives and progress against poverty, and also we'll consider those challenges SADC is facing, which hinders its accountabilities toward the initiatives. Also, what should be done, that means significant recommendations for SADC members to do in order to do away with that problem. Lastly, we are going to check on a call to action to all of us, what we are supposed to go and do. So the origin of this SADC was from the South Africa Development Coordination Conferences. As you know, that Africa, we had a problem of colonialism. So most countries were in colonial influence, dominations for a long period of time. So member countries, as you see, the founding countries, Tanzania was the first country to be independent in the SADC region, 1961, then followed by Zambia, Malawi, consecutively. So for that idea, after being independent, Tanzania saw that first president Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere saw the need to try to form a frontline states. These are the countries which are the first, 1961, 1964, 1966. So until this 1975, Angola, Mozambique, and Zimbabwe 1980 to become independent. So Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere had the idea of having conference with these countries who are already independent, so that they can liberate their fellows who are still colonized there. So Mwalimu said this idea, they started this conference, but when they meet in Arusha, they said that instead of having mere conferences, we need now to form a community whereby we work together, strong cooperation to avoid, first of all, the idea of economic dependence on upper side South Africa. As you can see, South Africa was the last country to become independent. The problem was it was dominated, there was a high influence of white settlers there, Boers from the British. So these countries, as first the apartheid were dominating the country. So to avoid with this, they started this idea. So these countries in 1992, they succeeded to form South African Development Community. As you can see, I tried to give a picture here. You can see the founding fathers of SADC here. There's Robert Mugabe, there is the president of Dos Santos of Angola, and that was a meeting in Arusha when Mwalimu Nyerere advised these member leaders to form a strong body to help them to have a power to do with the problems of poverty. Now, these are the current leaders. So you can see from the origin, these people, these founding fathers, now we have these leaders, the current president of Zimbabwe is a chairman of SADC, and you can see some my president here of Tanzania. So these SADC came into being now, and they are working very much good in eradicating problems of poverty. But let's see now the state of poverty in the SADC region. As you can see, I tried to group member countries in two, that the Zimbabwe and South Africa and Tanzania and Zambia. As I told, the historical background is that Zimbabwe and South Africa were the central colonies, whereby we see large number of foreigners, especially white settlers, resided in these countries, and that Tanzania and Zambia, these were non-central colonies. So we are going to see the differences here. For example, in Tanzania and Zambia, the major problem is all about poverty in the case of poor access to clean water, high illiteracy, subsistence agriculture, communicable diseases, and extreme corruption and unfair elections, which is more common in all members. But if you can come to the place of Zimbabwe and South Africa, due to the nature of their colonial legacies, that there is a problem of regionalism and balanced development. As you can see, 87% of land is owned by foreigners, especially these white settlers called Boers. And we are going to see the outcome of it. Also, with due this unbalanced development and income inequalities at large scale, there is a lot of political instabilities in these countries, like assassinations, coup d'etats, and civil wars. Also, the problem of gender inequalities, because there are industries, women are not getting chances to work in those industries. Also, the problem of child labor. I tried to put it into some kind of sorry.
Yeah, close it.
Yes. Into like a image to see that. Okay, sorry. So you can see that challenge is Tanzania and Zambia. We have a problem of poor infrastructure, poor education, poor schools. As you can see, there's a teacher here, student is teaching the student in such kind of very poor environment. Also, we have a problem of climatic changes, land degradation, so clean water. You can see a woman here going very long distances to search for water, carrying her baby there. This is a very difficult, and that's a human being here. That shows the problem of poverty due to income inequalities. There are people who are very rich and there are people who are very poor, and you can see that man with poor health conditions, but in a poor, doesn't get good health services. And you can see that is a problem which hinders people to acquire their normal life standards compared to others in the world. And that's why United Nations first goal is all about no poverty. You can see such condition of that man. So when we come to the place of Zimbabwe and South Africa, you can see a problem of land reform. People are demanding land reform matters in different elections. As you can see, a large number of people are used as squatters, people who work in foreigners' plantation instead of having their own farms. And here the women are protesting, demanding gender to eradicate gender-based violences. And you see these civil wars, people are fighting against their governments in order to bring some kind of changes. So for that, SADC members tried a lot to mitigate these problems among their member countries. So as you can see, some initiatives. The first one is 1997 SADC Protocol on Education and Training, trying to improve some kind of education systems and they succeeded to have equitable and free access to education. Also with SADC Health Protocol, the SADC organization succeeded to advise the member countries to contribute toward the health services according in relation to their GDP. So we are going to see they succeeded to cost effectiveness and quality health services in the countries. Also, there was a joint Ebola task force whereby SADC ministers united together to fight with this pandemic, just I can say pandemic problem of disease called Ebola, which killed a number of people there. Also with the SADC Regional Indicative Strategic Development Plan 2022-2030, that plan is trying to organize sustainability, environmental sustainability, balancing of development in relation to environmental degradation. So they succeeded much to attain sustainable use of natural resources, especially forestry, which will bring some kind of land degradation and deforestation, desertification, which will be the force toward the increasing the rate of poverty among these member countries. And lastly, there was a mediation of political crisis. As you can see, the SADC members succeeded to mediate Madagascar and the Zimbabwe political crisis which occurred, and I try to put this into picture so that you can have a good, clear vision on these initiatives. As you can see, that table here shows that country total expenditure on health after being advised by SADC. So we can see those countries like South Africa, they have a high GDP. They were encouraged to contribute 10.7 expenditures on health service so as to support the people, the citizens there around. So and a country which has low GDP, they're contributing 4.1 of their percent of their government expenditure to improve health services within their country. Also, the SADC is also working with foreign donor countries. They have good friendship with donor countries. As you can see, some companies like USD and the ILO, and what they are trying to support the community members of SADC, so they have good relationship with foreign countries. And you can see support for 2 years, position of HIV. These countries are giving a lot of money to help SADC in mitigating the problems of poverty in the countries. And that one is a picture which shows the mediation conference in Zimbabwe. There is President Mnangagwa here. There was the problem of corruption, and that is public embezzlement of public funds by few people, made some oppositional parties to raise up and need changes. And for example, in Madagascar, there was a coup d'etat which took over the presidency of President Ravalomanana. After the intervention of SADC, they succeeded to change the constitution, and then now Madagascar and Zimbabwe, they are very good and harmony there, and they have elected president. So with this, also there is that success on created. SADC succeeded to establish a 400 kilowatt interconnector electric cable from Zambia to Mozambique, because the electricity is a clean energy which will help people around the SADC region to avoid the problem of cutting down trees for firewood and charcoal, which will keep on increasing the problem of poverty. Because as you see that when you distract the environment, you distract the ecosystem, and at last the problems will increase more. So with these initiatives, SADC has succeeded to its potential to improve the problem. But yes, there are challenges like facing SADC. One of the challenges is that lack of commitment and effective participation of member countries. When other countries are pushing forward, there are other countries who are stopping the initiatives. Also, the challenge of over-dependence on foreign assistances. As you can see, even if we have friendship with these foreign countries, but there are some kind of worries. These countries, there is propaganda. For example, Zambia were given loans with high interest rates, which in terms of, instead of helping them, they keep on increasing the problems. So some recommendation is that we need to have commercialization of agriculture. SADC should insist on a new industrial policy to add value on their products. Also, realistic integration and engagement of private sectors. We need private sectors to work with public sectors, as one of fellows did the need. But for this recommendation also, now the call of action is that let us all stand together and make the world a better places. Even if you're in Africa, even if you're in Europe, you're in Asia, we need the world to become a better places for people to live. So put guns down and work together to alleviate poverty. Thank you.